Okay, so to get into the Gasboy program, you're going to click the little icon here that says Gasboy Login. That'll bring us up to a login screen. Right now, the username and password are admin is our user. The password is welcome, 1 asterisk, and the W is capitalized. That'll bring us to the main page. I'm going to go down the left-hand side of the page first, go over those options, and then we'll get into some of the other things. Right. Obviously, this is our main page. Stations. Okay, eventually you'll have 2 stations. Right now we only have the 1, and I'm actually going to log into the station. To log into the station, we double-click anywhere on this line. Okay, and the username and password on this are the same. Just to make you aware, the system itself is designed to be independent from this software. You guys have the very nice software on top, so the only thing you're ever going to do at the station level is focus on this screen. You're never ever going to go into any of these options. If you do, you can create some havoc. The pump will always display the last vehicle that is fueled, and you'll get general transactions down the bottom. This is not where you get your reports. It's just like a little logger to show you things. The biggest reason we go over this screen is the system's designed after 5 no quantity transactions in a row to block the pump. The reason it's designed to do that is to warn you there's some type of problem. Okay, for some reason, we know we turned the pump on 5 times, but we never saw quantity back. To us, that's going to be an issue. And we're going to block the pump. So if anybody ever tells you the pump is blocked, we're going to log into the station. And sure enough, this little green square will be black. Okay? To unblock it, okay, we're going to click right on the little color. Don't click out here. It'll give you this big thing. We're going to click right on the color and click unblock, okay? We also have the ability to block the pump there. Somebody tells you it's leaking like a sieve. You can block it from here. There's also an option there that says authorized pump. I don't really know anybody using it. If you chose to, it would turn the pump on for 1 transaction, and then all this information that you see as far as the vehicle and down here would say admin. So that's how you would know if somebody manually started a transaction. All right. Several reasons the pump can get blocked. You run out of fuel. Okay, for some reason the motor's not coming on. Okay, and there again, it's got to be 5 times in a row. All right. So I recommend if you're showing people how to use the pump, as we did this morning, bring a vehicle over, fuel it. Right? That's the only thing you're ever going to go into the screen for. You'll notice these little options across the top. All that information is better organized within the Fleethead Office software. And we're going to show you those there. So let's X out of here. All right? And that takes us back to the stations. You guys do not have clusters. Clusters are for multiple grouped sites. If you wanted to group separate things together, you guys don't have anything clustered together. You just have 2 sites. All right. Setup. Please do not go into setup. All right. If you go into setup and change anything, it will create havoc and the software will not interact with the stations. Event viewer. The only time you'd really go into the event viewer is if I asked you to, or a technician asked you to look up something that may have occurred. You can certainly go into the event viewer. I don't necessarily know that the stuff in there is really going to make sense to you if you'd really care. You'll notice things like preset fueling was incomplete. The vehicle we just fueled this morning, it was authorized to get 50 gallons, but they didn't get 50 gallons. That's all that means. We did some updating earlier to get the tank monitor online, and you'll notice that that information's updated. Okay, that's pretty much all it does. All right. If anything, we would have you only look at fatal and debug messages if we did. But you're more than welcome to go in there and take a look. Going right down the side, administration. This is where you would load users in. If down the road you want to load more than one admin in, you can also set somebody up to where they can only view reports. Okay, and this is where you would do that. All right. System commands, you guys really aren't executing any of those. Same with registrations. They're all geared towards other pieces of equipment that get connected that you guys are not utilizing. Policies. You may go in and change the policy if you would like. Down the road, if you guys stop using SSL 3.0, some people are cutting the 3.0 out. This also goes through your minimum password lengths. Okay. I unchecked force change every 3 months, only because for the most part, I have to log into this computer in order to get to the Gasboy software, and it kind of wreaks havoc on people when they got to keep updating the Gasboy system. All right. And archive, down the road, if you ever wanted to, of course, it's going to give me nothing to archive because this software doesn't have over a year period of data. Once you get over a year period, it will allow you to archive that data if you chose to. It depends. New Jersey, once you're running 2 years. New York, once you're running 3. So it all depends on how Pennsylvania wants their history or how you want your history. It does not affect anything if you do not archive. Help. Okay. Help. Gasboy has included a wonderful 416-page manual, okay, of the software. It is, again, nobody prints the manual out and hands it to you anymore. Everything's in PDF, all right? Certainly any questions you have, if you're familiar with Adobe, you can search it, search reports. Okay. So I'm going to click back to main here, okay, which is going to bring me back to the main page where we first logged in and gave us these 2 little pictures. And I'm going to jump over to fuel management. Any given time you come into the Gasboy software, now that we're connected to your tank monitor, we can see your status. Okay, this is how much stock you have. Okay, if I click on the little alarms, it's just going to say system started. You will see system started. It redoes that every day. All right. If we would like to actually see the pretty tanks, we can click on station orders, or station data rather, and go up here and I select my station, and you'll notice that'll show us the tank. Tank has 47.53 inches in it. It's 1,202 gallons. All right. Anytime you want to do that. All right, again, I'm going to click back on administration, which will take me back to this page. And I'm going to click on Fleet Head Office. First thing that comes up under Fleet Head Office is our reports, okay? And the first screen under reports that comes up is a summary page. I don't really know anybody that utilizes this page, but it gives you a breakdown of your devices, how many tags, how many cards you have, total number of transactions. It's a generic screen that, you know, you can look at it and see if it's worth anything to you. So let's go under our reports. That was our summary. Let's go to custom. All right. The custom report is actually quite handy, and it's the report that I kind of recommend you use for everything. I'm going to go over all the little features of the report so you don't think I cheated you out of anything, but you'll notice there's a lot of things that you may not use. All right, station, if you guys wanted to individualize this station versus I-78, you can. Date, time, of course, they're important to you. Fleet, you guys only have one fleet, okay? You can have multiple departments under that fleet, but you guys really are only one fleet. Transaction type, you're not using that, that's more for credit cards. Vehicle number, that's important. Product, quantity, they're important. Total sale, you're not doing dollars. And as we go down, receipt number, same idea, we're not giving out receipts. Payment mode, transaction ID, and authorized by, all credit card things. Department, that's important to us. Price per gallon, we're not doing. Odometer, that's going to be important to us. Engine, if you guys decide in some vehicles to track the engine hours, you can look at that on the report. Pump, in all honesty, I don't know anybody that ever really cares what pump number it came out of. All right. You are attached to the tank monitor, so if you want to know the nozzle density and temperature at the time of fueling, you can get that out of the report. Vehicle type, slip number, driver's name, department code, card number, device name. And then you'll notice from there down, pretty much everything else is all credit card statements. Authorized by, rejection codes, credit card price, base price. Right. So what's nice about this software is, and this reporting option is, I can set this report up however I would like to, okay? Right now, Gasboy depicts the 7 they think you want to see. In all honesty, I don't know who selected these 7 because I don't know anybody that ever wanted to see that 7. So the first thing we're going to do is down the bottom, and you can do this for any report that you want, is we're going to clear that order field, okay? And that gets all the numbers out. And the first thing in my report that I like seeing is the department number. So if I just click right in that field, it's going to designate that as 1. All right. Then the next thing I like seeing is the vehicle number, the date, the time, the product, which for you guys here is only unleaded, so I don't even know if product would mean anything, but it's nice to see unleaded on the report. The quantity, the odometer, and then the driver's name, okay? Down here under new, I'm going to name this monthly report. If I could type properly. I'm going to blame that on the keyboard that time. Okay, once I've put my name under new, I'm going to click modify. And you'll notice how the screen now has this report template. Okay, and you'll notice how it's changed. Okay, now it only has the things I wanted to put in there. All right. Big thing that I'll point out to you with the reports is you always obviously have to include date. Okay. The time, if I click on the calendar, the date and time will come up. Make sure you 0 the clock. Okay. If Gasboy's using SQL database, SQL automatically looks to the time of the computer for the time of the report. If you don't 0 the clock, and then I select the date, if I didn't 0 the clock, we'd be missing 12 hours of the first. So always remember 0 your clock first, then pick your date. And let's preview that report. All right, so this will show you just as we discussed, the department, the vehicle number, the date of the transaction, the time, product, quantity, the odometer of that vehicle, and who fueled. Okay? In the overall picture, when you guys think of what you were getting out of the system or what you're utilizing the system for, that pretty much covers all the bases. I've done this a lot, and this seems to work for a lot of customers, to the fact that we have our department there. Our vehicle number is set.
Sorry.
That looked like it paused it.
Technological failure.
Always.
No, it's gone. There you
Okay.
go.
All right, so I'm going to add one more thing to my report here. And anytime that I go out and come back in now, okay, monthly should be saved there, but it's not refreshing for some reason. I think I had that problem the other day because I had to go all the way up or something. There it is, yeah. I'm gonna break by plate number and I'm gonna add that to our report. Plate number is actually vehicle number. Why they call it plate in one area and vehicle in the other is beyond me. But you can break by different things. You can also sort by different things. Again, this is all your preference. I don't really know anybody that sorts by anything except that break by plate number. And we're going to put the dates back in. And as we discussed, don't forget zero your clock. And let's preview this. You'll see the difference. Now, rather than grouping everything together, what's nice is it gives us the one vehicle that we actually fueled today and its total, but then there was another vehicle here that's vehicle 15833 that fueled 3 times, and it gives you the total. Okay? At the end of the report, it will always give you a total of unleaded. You know, obviously for the other location, it'll give a total of diesel also. All right? So it'll always give you the fuel totals. All right? If you want to look for one driver, I can. You'll notice anything that has a red dot next to it, okay, that means they've been deleted out of the system. We have 2 files here. We have a transaction history file and we have our devices file. We call everything a device, whether it be a tag or a card, okay? The reason that it shows you that red mark is he's been deleted out of the devices file, but we keep him here for reporting purposes. Okay, so that's a good sign right there that we know we can go back and report on somebody that's been removed from the software. All right, so same idea, I can just type in somebody's name and you'll notice it starts shrinking down. All right, if I wanted to look for one vehicle, same idea, I can. All right. I don't know if I-78 has multiple departments. You guys only have one department here, but down the road, if you wanted to sort by different departments, you could. All right. So let's go back to reports. That's the, that's the custom report. Let's discuss the fleet reports now. I expressed to everybody that fleet reports are kind of like, I call them like year-to-date totals. You can do them for date ranges, but our fleet reports, we have a driver's list, a vehicle list, or a department list. Pretty self-explanatory. It lists the devices that we have in the software. The usage reports are department usage, vehicle fuel usage, an OBL&GO report, which is just a generic report. And you guys obviously would not have an account activity report because you're not doing accounting. But let's go into the vehicle fuel usage report. Come on. Is it slow back to the server? You don't think?
There's nothing there.
It's possible. Let's see department usage. I'll have to remote to that machine and see. You guys wouldn't have any maintenance reports. They're only if you're attaching to the OBD2 data on the vehicle. So, but the fuel usage reports themselves, like I said, they just drive a year-to-date total. So vehicle 10, if it, for whatever range you put in, used 1,000 gallons, it's just going to say vehicle 10,000 gallons. It doesn't give you that nice detail that the custom does. But I'm going to jump back to the custom, because what's nice about the custom too is if I just wanted a summary only, for whatever a date range, same idea. If I wanted to do a whole year, it's going to give me this report, which I think if you guys compare the two reports together, I think this one looks so much better and it's a lot cleaner. But you'll notice vehicle number, just a total. That vehicle 15833 that we saw had 3 transactions. We just show you the total. And that's just by clicking that summary only box. So now that they've included that feature on the custom, a lot of people have just basically ixnayed these reports. All right. Modified transactions, I don't see where you would ever modify a transaction. That's more a retail thing. If they wanted to edit the cost of a transaction, you basically can edit a transaction. You can change anything you want on it. There again, I don't see you guys doing that. So then we're going to do the last part of the reports, which is the export. Down the road, if you guys have a fleet maintenance program, okay, Gasboy's export feature is very, very nice. If I'm going to click on new, all right, if you had a fleet management program, and I would say 99% of the decent fleet maintenance programs will allow what's called a fuel import. They're going to give you a file structure. What's nice about Gasboy is they give you the ability to structure that file however you want to say it, okay? So say this company that we went with wanted to see the vehicle number first. We scroll down to vehicle number, click add, okay? Then let's say they wanted to see the transaction date, next, add. Then they wanted to see the odometer. I just click add. So we can format it however they want to see it. Then what format do they want to see it in? Do they want to see it in a CSV, which is an Excel format, a text format, or an XML? How do they want to see the delimiter, meaning how do they want to see each individual field separated? By a comma, by nothing, by a space, by a tab? Okay, and then anything that has a decimal point, how do they want to see that? Do they want to see it with a period, with a comma, or nothing? Okay. And then up here, I can adjust all my widths. So if your vehicle number is only a maximum of 8 digits, I can modify it right there. Mm-hmm. All right. So then once I structure this file however I want it, same idea as the template over the other side, I'm going to name it. Yeah. And most people will name it whatever the fleet package is, dossier or RTA. All right. Then I have the ability of doing a date range export, all transactions, which I don't know anybody that repeatedly does all transactions. Most people do from last export, that way they have no duplicates, okay? Or they actually automate it. And down here, if I click automatic, okay, it gives me the ability to set up it creating this file on a daily basis. And where do I want it to go to? Do I want it to go to an FTP? Or do I want it to go to a local directory? All right. How often do I want it to happen? Okay. Con Ed happens to be one of my customers. They have it done every hour. That's how much they want their fleet package updated. So that anytime their mechanics go in and look, they can see what vehicles are due. Most people do it every 24 hours. All right. And then when do I want that to execute? Okay. So most people do it at 00, which is just midnight. So if you do create something like this and you have us run at midnight, you can have the fleet maintenance program run at like 2 in the morning. So we export the file, They import the file. Next day, mechanic comes in, he knows what he's doing. All right. Any questions on the export feature? All right. Well, that's pretty much the reports, folks. We're going to jump into fleet management now. All right. When we come into fleet management, the first thing that comes up is our fleets. All right. We actually have the ability to double click on that fleet. And this is where I would add departments. Okay. If we had maintenance versus tolls versus, whatever you guys wanted to. All right. But you'll only always ever have one fleet. So I'm going to skip past devices and I'm going to go to rules, group rules, and models. And I'm going to show you where those three items apply to our devices. And just to reinstate that, we consider everything a device, whether it be one of these tags, your HID card, did you take from me?
Yes, I did.
The HID cards, down the road, if you guys ever wanted to upgrade to the rings, okay, for the vehicles, you certainly can. There again, it all goes in one package, and we can utilize any format of these devices. So let's go over rules. Okay, right now for this location, because you really do only have smaller vehicles that fuel here, we really only have one set of rules. Unleaded, fuel only, and 50 gallons, okay? I-78 is going to have a variation of them, okay? And this is where it stops an unleaded vehicle from getting diesel or a diesel vehicle getting unleaded. A lot of people ask me, well, why did we put a gallon limit on it? Okay, who cares about that? Just make everything 300 gallons. That's something you don't want to do, because if the diaphragm fails in the nozzle and you don't restrict the gallons and I walk away from the pump, it's going to pump everything onto the ground. Okay, so always try to stay within some kind of reason. All right, but once I've made these rules, I then have the ability to group them together. Okay, and that's where we get unleaded only 10 gallons, unleaded gallon 50 gallons, and so on. Okay, a lot of places have gas cans. Probably I-78 does more than you guys might. We do a lot of 5-gallon limits. All right. And then models, if we really wanted to go crazy, we could actually create models. Make a vehicle, Ford, model F-150, description, pickup truck, classes. A lot of times this will match your fleet maintenance program. Most people, though, if they're using a fleet maintenance program, they don't do it here, because then you're doing it 2 different places. We really only have it for documentation purposes. We're not really doing anything with that as a fleet maintenance program would. All right. One of the reasons why Gasboy never got into fleet maintenance programs are there's so many of them out there, and everybody wants to see something a little different. So if you guys are interested in that direction, you type in fleet management online, it'll come up with 1,000 demos. All right. Biggest question you want to ask, how much does it cost to maintain a year? And do you do a fuel import? All right, because a lot of them are very expensive to maintain. All right, so I just clicked on devices, and that's going to bring up all the devices that we have in here. And we're going to go over installing some new ones, but I want to go over the sorting capabilities of this also. What's nice about this is if I want to do device type, I can sort just my vehicles over my drivers, okay, or just my drivers. All right. I also have the ability to select one department. I can look up a specific vehicle or name. Okay. Eric Grant says his card's not working. So I can type in his name and see if he's even in here. And sure enough, he's not. All right. You can also sort by the card number. Okay, so if you have, and this is where it kind of gets a little tricky with the different cards, you can see, you can have the guy read you what's on the card, and you can see if that even comes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you put something in there for me? I wanna check something. 9999.
Yes, that's in there.
It is in there.
Yeah, it's a vehicle. It's a test vehicle.
We gotta take it out then at the end.
Okay.
I put that in the test.
Okay. We will remove that.
Yeah.
So we'll go over that when we're done for deleting purposes. All right. Here, under status, you have the word active or blocked. Okay. So if I want to get Roy Little's attention, because he refuses to come in, I can highlight his name and I can block him.
You might even use this during lunch.
Now, if he tries to get fuel outside, it will say device is blocked. All right. Whenever he puts his card up there. All right. Then he's going to come in and talk to you, and then we can unblock it. And that will make him active. So let's go over adding a new device. Down the bottom of the screen here, we have new. First thing we're going to start with is a vehicle. Okay. You'll notice the first screen that pops up is a generic screen, or what they call the general screen. And this is where we define really what it is. We know it's not vehicle mounted, it is handheld. And it is a vehicle. That's our default. We're going to go straight across the top. If you go OK, which will take you some time to get used to not doing because you're going to want to say OK every screen, it'll tell you some information is missing. So next, we go straight across these little tabs. I'm going to pull this down just to see what you guys have been naming things. Okay. So you guys have basically been giving the vehicle name of whatever it is. I'm not sure how I-78 does it. I think they do, the vehicle number is the name.
I think they do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Cartograph ID, or the database number that we have?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And that way, everything just comes out the same rather than doing 1975 Ford, okay, vehicle 10. Vehicle 10 that number might transcend to the 2000 version we buy. So usually the name becomes the vehicle number, but it's fine that you guys did it this way. It's up to you too if you want to change it back. We certainly can discuss that when we talk about doing that database merge. All right, so for giggles, we'll just say vehicle 10. As soon as I hit tab, you'll notice it automatically puts that into vehicle number for me. That's one of the other reasons why the name's just usually the number unless you want to detail it some other way. Then we would select our department, and then we select our group rule, okay? On a vehicle, please make sure it has a group rule. Right there, you'll notice it says no restriction, okay? No restriction, as we discussed, can get us in trouble outside. All right. You have the ability to put the chassis number in if you want. If you put makes and models in, you could. The year, tank capacity, the odometer, engine hours, standard consumption, and standard hour consumption. You do not have to put these things in to get a vehicle device into the software. The only thing we really need is this top box to be filled out for a vehicle to function. Underneath that, we have expiration date. I don't ever see you guys putting an expiration date on a vehicle. Same with pressure levels. This is all data for fuel point. You're not doing customer IDs or price lists. So all this stuff down here is not applicable to you. All right, same idea. If I hit OK, it's going to tell me some stuff's still missing. We're going to go right across these tabs. Validation. All right. PIN number. You guys are not going to put a PIN number on a vehicle. If you did, we'd all need to know that PIN number in order to fuel that vehicle. You're using an employee ID instead. All right. Odometer. Sure, we want odometer. Then we have the ability to do a reasonable check. I don't recommend that you check this until after the vehicle has fueled a couple times and we look at the odometer in the report and make sure it's uniform, it looks good. Then I can turn the reasonable on. And what reasonable is, it's not going to give them the ability to put in any crazy old number. Then we have a maximum delta here, which I usually make 300. You don't have any vehicles that are going to go over 300 miles before they come and get fuel again. Or retries. I usually make that 3. What that means is if our last odometer was 1,000, it's not going to let me put in 1301. And if I try to, 3 times in a row, after the 3rd time, it'll finally accept whatever I put in. Okay, if you don't want that to happen, you're going to check this other little box down here that says reject fueling if checked. What that means is after the 3rd time, it's just going to go back to welcome present tag. All right.
And then if that fails 5 times, then they're blocked.
No, it just keeps, nope, they just can keep going through that loop, but it's not going to get them everywhere. It's not going to get them any fuel. All right. You can also do the same thing for engine hours. All right. Then you'll notice this prompt for vehicle information. Again, this is one of those things that's really only geared towards fuel point applications, which is the ring technology that goes on the vehicle. All right, format. So for the format on this, we need to open the program that reads these tags, which is this little icon here that says Gasboy Tag Reader. So we're going to click on that, and that's going to bring this little odd panel up. And we're going to take the tag and we're going to present it there, and that's going to beep. At that point in time, it's going to bring up this long number in here. You want to copy the number between the semicolon and the equal sign into that card number. Okay. Then the device type becomes tag. All right. Now we want this device to be 2-stage, and what that means is when this is presented, I want it to ask for some other type of ID, in this instance our driver. So I click on the word 2-stage, and there's this statement here that says this means requires driver ID for authorization. I'm going to check that box. Okay? If you run a report that you see a vehicle being used, but you don't see that driver out on the end like we made that report, or make sure you include driver. If you don't see a driver, that box is not checked for that tag. So once we're done, we can click OK, which would just take us back to our devices, or we can click OK and New if we have another one to do. So we're going to click OK and New. All right, and we're going to do a handheld, and this time we're going to do driver. All right, same idea, we're going straight across the tabs. Information, name, okay? I am not exactly sure how you guys were putting it in. Looks like you were putting in
The name.
first name, last name?
First name, last name.
Yes.
Okay. That one threw me off.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're putting in first name, last name. All right, so in this instance, we will be doing Jerry's card. So we'll type in Jerry.
ZACHARATOS.
All right, so we're going to put his name into name, select his department if he had a specific department. As far as the group rule, he stays no restriction, okay? He's restricted by whatever vehicle he gets into. Okay, so remember that drivers are always no restriction. And again, of course, all this information down the bottom really only pertains to vehicles. Validation, same idea. This tab really only pertains to vehicles. Format. Okay, once I hit format, that's where I take his card and I tap it to the other HID box, and you'll hear that beep. And then I click the word acquire here, and it's going to pull in his number. Okay? He stays card. All right? If I try to get to 2-stage, you'll notice it says this screen is not accessible for this device. As we discussed, 2-stage really is telling a vehicle to ask for a driver. The software already knows, hey, this already is a driver. This already is the 2nd stage, so it won't let me go to that screen. Once I'm done, I click OK. And that takes me back to the devices screen.
And I'm right there now.
All right. Again,
Hurry up, go fill your car.
real nice. You know, this screen can be sorted by any one of these fields. Okay. It's very accessible that way. So, Jerry, you don't get gas, do you? Okay. So we're going to remove Jerry. Okay. So say Jerry quit. We let him go, God forbid. We're going to find him. We're going to click OK. It'll bring him up. I highlight him. Go to the bottom of the screen. Delete. Are you sure? Sure we are. And that's gone. If you want to get back to the devices, you could just click this reset and then OK. And that'll bring them all back. All right. For some reason, I don't know, I'm lazy. I just click on devices again and it'll just refresh the screen like that. So let's pick that vehicle 10. All right. Okay. Delete. Okay. And same idea, like I said, I can just click devices and it refreshes.
Can you do 999?
I'm gonna get there. I
Get that
promise.
out
Just
there,
for you, buddy.
So I put that in there.
We already blocked it. So.
Yeah.
All right. So same idea. If it's only on this screen and I see it right away, I could just highlight it right from here rather than doing that sort and finding it and delete right from there.
Good.
All right. And that pretty much manages our database. Now, if you guys are putting a lot of devices in all one shot, I do recommend that you go back to the device type, click on driver, make sure all your drivers say no restriction, go back, click on vehicle, make sure your vehicles all have some type of restriction, all right?
Mm-hmm.
My big thing there is I just don't want you guys to ever get caught where somebody locks that nozzle on and walks away. I've had it happen to people. So 35 years of doing this, I've seen a lot of different good things. So I'm going to click on administration. That's going to bring us back to the main page, but that's pretty much the package all the way around.
Okay.
All right.
Great. And fuel management, what does that do?
Fuel management?
That brings us to the tank, right?
Correct.
That's where if it gets locked.
Correct.
Okay.
That brings us to the tank.
Shows what's.
We can look at
current.
our station data,
Go to the-
which will
Okay. Yep.
bring us there. And then admin brings us back to the main page.